I don't suppose anyone has ever heard of the legendary sword chucks. Flegling Warrior's Trustmaster reward is a materia limited to Final Fantasy I units. It grants 500 flat attack and defense, then gives a 50% double killer against all species. It's incredible! If you can use it. His Super Trustmaster reward is a set of heavy armor with incredibly high defense, HP, and some attack and spirit. It also further boosts HP by 100%, and when equipped onto a tank, boosts their defense by an extra 500, then grants them Demon and Reaper Killer Plus. It doesn't have any elemental resistance though. Onto his active abilities. Fledgling Warrior's attacks scale off his defense stat. He can use Protect God +3, which can grant your team a 75% physical mitigation buff among other things, but I have no idea why Awaken abilities aren't shown. Brave Presence 2 activates a Provoke and grants him a weak physical mitigation buff. Saint's War grants your team a weak HP barrier and raises their lightning, wind, light, and dark resistance by 70%. Invincible Shield has a 10-turn cooldown. The ability itself boosts your team's defense and spirit by 300%, gives them an HP barrier, and boosts the same elemental resistances by 100%. Cover, Physical 1, should be awakenable too, though with Protect God +3 you're only using it for the cover. Indomitable Charge chains of Absolute Mirror of Equity and grants Warrior a 75% general mitigation buff. Coruscant Saber inflicts a 85% attack and magic break. Shield Bash Plus inflicts confusion and removes attack and magic buffs. Passives. With his Trustmaster reward or Super Trustmaster reward equipped, Warrior gains 2 Guts buffs and raises his limit burst damage. He deals increased damage to aquatics, demons, dragons, and reaper enemies, dealing more damage to demons. He has a pretty big boost to his limit burst regen, and has a 30% boost to physical evasion. Even without his lock passive, he has another Guts buff, and prefers to carry a single weapon with a shield. He also meets half the boost to the chain cap limit. When he enters the battle, he'll automatically cast Preemptive Cover, Physical, which activates a weak physical cover. His normal attack is changed to Power to Protect Comrades, which deals light damage and activates a weak physical cover. He also has a boost to Passive Provoke, though only up to 50%. At EX +2, he gets Unleash Power, a stronger version of Warring Spirit, and at EX +3, he gets 500 defense. Let's look at his Limit Burst. It deals damage, inflicts an 87% attack break and an 85% magic break, gives your team a 70% general mitigation buff, a 70% physical mitigation buff, and a 75% physical mitigation buff against aquatic, demon, dragon, and reaper enemies. Time to change forms. Fledgling Warrior's Brave Shift has a 4-turn duration and a 3-turn cooldown. Onto his active abilities. Crystal Radiance deals light damage, grants him a 75% general mitigation buff, and fills his limit burst gauge by a nice amount. To me, Warriors of Light grants your team an 85% physical and magic mitigation buff against demon and reaper enemies, boosts the damage modifiers of certain if not all limit bursts, raises the damage modifier of his one limit burst, and does the same thing but weaker for other potentially stronger limit burst types. Notably, this ability isn't available until turn 4. My Duty. No, not yet! Requires a great deal of his limit burst gauge. In return, it grants your team a full re-raise buff without an expiration date, though the ability itself has a 10-turn cooldown. Clad in Prayer, I Am Invincible can only be used once per battle. It grants Warrior a tremendous 99% general mitigation buff. Passives. A lot of it is the same, though he has lost his limit burst regen in exchange for some more limit burst damage. His normal attack has been changed to Absolute Justice, which deals light damage and raises your team's elemental resistance by 70%. He also gets extra stats when paired with Bahamut. Let's look at his limit burst. It deals light damage, inflicts an 89% attack break and an 85% magic break, grants the team a 75% general mitigation buff, a 75% physical mitigation buff, and a 75% physical mitigation buff against aquatic, demon, dragon, and reaper enemies. Let's rank Brave abilities. I'd suggest raising Coruscant Saber to raise the effects of the breaks, and for the other two, they just raise damage. So, EX2. At EX +2, Warrior gets Unleash Power, giving him an instant limit burst. Both of Warrior's limit bursts provide tremendous defensive capabilities, though obviously his Brave Shift is stronger. It's also useful even if you're not going to use it on the first turn, as Warrior greatly appreciates additional sources of limit burst crystals in the first place. You also get his Super Trustmaster reward, which is just excellent stat-wise for many physical tanks. At EX +3, he gets 500 defense, very expensive. So how good is Fledgling Warrior? Compared to the last physical tank, King of Leon is Mont. It's a pretty close race. In terms of stats, Warrior is just a bit ahead, especially with his Brave Shift, but conversely, he also has to deal with its turn duration and cooldown. Furthermore, Mont at EX plus 3 will easily best him in terms of consistency, but really, who has Mont at EX plus 3 anyways? Still, it's true that you might have a hard time keeping Warrior's Limit Burst buffs up, given its cost and his Limit Burst Screech fill rate. Regardless, Warrior is an excellent physical tank, especially with the upgrade to Protect Ga, which at stage 3 will pretty much overshadow a great deal of his kit. His cooldown abilities are all also very strong, though 2 of them have hefty cooldowns and the 3rd isn't available at the start of the fight. You can definitely reduce those with Raka though. His Brave Shift can also boost all elemental resistance with his normal attack, which is admittedly rather tight given a normal attack prevents you from using abilities on the same turn. His second Limit Burst is locked to light, which might be a problem, but Mont's locked to fire so I can't hold that against him. Ultimately, he's a great unit, but he doesn't have Sword Chuck, so unfortunately he's not as great as he could be. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Comment below if you plan to get Fledgling Warrior. Personally, not really. Runda is an excellent free physical tank and I have units that can supplement the buffs that he's missing. Admittedly, I don't have anything that covers the species mitigation buffs, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over that.